What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Before I get into this video, I always want to remind you guys that if you are looking at this video and you haven't subscribed to Too Raw for TV, shame on you. And make sure you subscribe to Too Raw for TV. If you haven't hit that bell, make sure you hit that bell to be notified of any video drops on this channel. And also, if you haven't hit like, please hit like if you appreciate, not even if you like the content, but you just appreciate the effort put into these videos. And also, doing these things counteract all of the things in YouTube's algorithm to suppress smaller channels like myself and other channels in the LDBC. But doing these things not only for me, but for other channels in the LDBC will make us that much stronger. Now, let's talk about Michael Jordan. Now, Michael Jordan was in the news recently. He opened up a healthcare center in North Carolina, which is specifically for those with little or no health insurance. And during the opening ceremony for the clinic, Michael Jordan became noticeably moved and emotional. But he was asked in particular, Michael Jordan, about uh, his stance on the increasing political awareness that we see in modern day athletes and his feelings on that. Now, I have to say, however, that when it came to the ongoing issue with Hong Kong and China, Michael Jordan chose not to comment on that. And, you know, that's why I was of the opinion that LeBron James probably shouldn't have said anything. He still would have been criticized. He still would have been criticized by, people who don't like him. But you don't give them the ammunition. You don't give them, I'd rather have them say, uh, he's not brave enough to speak out, blah, 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 blah. I'd rather have them do that than me to give them ammunition. You know what I'm saying? Because either way, you're fucked. You fucked a little bit by not saying anything, but you're truly fucked by giving an answer. And LeBron really fucked up because he gave a kind of a non-answer, politically speaking. I'm not talking about actuality. Really, in reality, we all know what he was saying. But in the world of politics or politics, he gave an answer that was just like the answer he gave is like throwing a lob, like just throwing a straight loft pitch to fucking prime Barry Bonds or something. You know what I'm saying? And Barry Bonds are the Republicans, the Senator Sam Hartford of the great state of Mississippi. But anyway, Michael Jordan, when he was asked about his feelings about people being more politically uh, active, I guess, in today's sports world, he said he approved it. He said that he approves of the increasing political awareness of today's modern athlete, as long as they are aware of the issue and informed of the issues in hand, then he doesn't have any problem. He supports it. He was asked by the reporter. Um, he was asked by the reporter why uh, he wasn't more politically active in his own career, and Michael Jordan said that, well, when he was playing, he kind of had tunnel vision. Like basically, when he was playing the game of basketball, he was so fixated on basketball and trying to be the best he can be at basketball and winning and all that type of stuff that he didn't really have time to focus on other, I guess, pet issues or other, anything outside of the world of basketball. He said it was only after he retired from basketball that he was able to educate himself on other things and other matters and whatnot. Now he's become more socially aware and I get the feeling that Michael Jordan is one of those guys who believes in the mantra actions speak louder than words. Because I'm going to tell you something. I've always been of the impression and of the opinion that Michael Jordan's a bit of a coon. And I've used that term to describe him. But, maybe I'm a little off base with that. But a lot of, I'll put it like this. Has Michael Jordan ever said anything like in the media, like in public, that really validates someone calling him a coon? The closest thing I can think of is when he said, I think this was back when 1990, when Jesse Helms, who was an avowed, pretty much an avowed bigot, if not racist, senator for North Carolina, which is of course the home state of Michael Jordan, was running against a guy named, I think his name was it Ron Gant? I think it was Ron Gant or something like that. He was a black Democrat, and Michael Jordan asked whom he would support, and Michael Jordan said basically, "Well, I don't want to get involved because Republicans buy sneakers too." And for some people, that was a rather infamous statement, and they kind of put Michael Jordan in a fucked up position. That's why I always say sometimes when you're big like that, don't say anything. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of, even though I don't really think that was a bad statement, I thought it was kind of funny. But you know, it is what it is. Um, but anyway, Michael Jordan never really said anything that really would be like, yeah, see, he's a fucking coon. But it was kind of his, it's kind of more his silence sometimes. Like I said, there's no perfect answer for LeBron James' dilemma last week. There are going to be some people who are going to call you a coon or a coward, you know, and Michael Jordan got some of that because of his silence. Uh, but at the same time, a lot of the of what a lot of the reason why I have and other people call him coon is more anecdotal stuff. It's more things if you've heard about him over the past 20 to 30 years that supposedly doesn't shine well on him. Like I've heard and read about how he looks down on black people who aren't rich. I've read and heard about how sometimes he treats individuals, especially those who look like him, how he treats them in person. I've read about the incident where he was at a mall and he was surrounded by security and he saw some urban, you know, African Americans, I guess you could call it that. And he was overheard saying to one of his bodyguards, damn, I fucking hate niggas. You know, so you know, you hear all about these different things that supposedly happen. These things may be urban legends. These things may not be true. But when you consistently hear all these terrible things about a guy, like we hear about Steve Harvey, you kind of start believing it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't be lying. But then again, I'll say this: all these things are supposedly happening when Michael Jordan is in his 20s and 30s. Okay, he's now 56 years old. He's a much older man. And I would hate myself to be judged at age 39 on things I did when I was 19 and 20 years old. I would hate to be judged by that. So, should we give Michael Jordan another chance? Is he now, I guess, woke? I don't know. I don't know. But there are some things that I've learned this year that I did not know about Michael Jordan. And this is why I brought up that sometimes action speaks louder than words thing. Um, for one, I was not aware. It was three things actually that I found out. I was not aware that Michael Jordan hires a lot of African Americans in his businesses, in particular, like with the Charlotte Hornets. Supposedly, he has more African Americans, minorities working in the front office and within the Hornets organization than any other owner. Uh, Maybe in sports, definitely in the NBA, and probably in sports. I wasn't aware of that. I was also not aware that Michael Jordan helped Spike Lee in funding the movie Malcolm X back in 1992. As Johnny Carson would say, you know, Ed, I did not know that. And also, I wasn't aware. And this, when you think about it, it is true. Michael Jordan generally, when it pertains to media, when he has these interviews, usually will request an African American to interview him. He tends to want to work with African American journalists. And when I think about it, it's true. Usually, when I see Michael Jordan being interviewed in these one-on-one interviews, it's a guy like I don't know his name, but the black guy that we saw yesterday interviewing Michael Jordan, or was Michael Wilbon, or it's Ahmad Rashad, or someone like that. Whereas a lot of these other athletes, they talk a good game, but oftentimes they're being interviewed by. I don't know if some people are like, well, it doesn't matter, but it kind of does. Because Michael Jordan was the one who really put Ahmad Rashad on the map. Michael Jordan put Ahmad Rashad on the map and helped to make him what he became in the 90s. Okay. Um, so there are some things that Michael Jordan has done as far as that's concerned, and Michael Jordan has put his money to helping certain causes and and helping people behind the scenes. That's kind of a good thing in some ways because oftentimes I get suspicious of athletes who always want to press shoot and a photo op for every altruistic and philanthropic action that they take. Sometimes you start to look at that with suspicion. Like, are you doing that out of sheer, are you doing this because of the goodness of your heart, or is there some other ulterior and nefarious motive behind this? Are you only doing this because of your image, and you really could give two shits about these people? Like you might think about with a Steve Harvey or somebody like that. So that's my take on this, man. I think all in all, I think Michael Jordan is kind of sincere in his support of athletes. He did say something about when he was asked, did he does he wish that he was more proactive in his career than he was? He said he doesn't really look at the past. I kind of think maybe he. I kind of make. I kind of can think maybe there's some instances where he might have wished that he had spoken out a little bit more about some stuff. I'm pretty sure. Um, I could think of certain things, but some things happen because I'm not mistaken. That guy Bird that was killed by those fucking racist pieces of shit in Texas. If I remember serving correctly, I want to say that happened right as the NBA Finals was coming to an end in 1998. So Michael may not have been able to focus on something like that. But I kind of wish that Jordan had spoke out about Rodney King. I kind of wish that Jordan had spoke out about the Million Man March in support of that. I wish that he had spoken out about some things that we needed a leader on, especially someone who was his clout. I wish that he had spoken out about the crime bill that was passed in the mid 90s under the Clinton regime, which pretended to be a Democratic administration, but they were obviously catering to conservative voters with that. And I still say to this day that the crime reform bill that they passed was terrible, terrible in its focus on African American males. Okay. Um, I mean, literally hundreds of thousands of African American men were needlessly put in prison for bullshit terms and for terms that were way too long. And I kind of wish that a guy like Michael Jordan had spoken out on that. But the only thing I'll say in his defense was the 1990s were a different era. We did not have social media. Our country was still probably a center right nation. I remember a poll out back in 1993. I remember watching a newscast, and the poll showed that 97% of Americans believed in God and the Bible. And now that number is probably more in the 70 percentile, and it's probably going to continue to drop. So that goes to show you how far to the left our country's gone. It's still not a left country. We're not a socialist nation, But I would say we've gone from center right to maybe center or slightly center left. Um, but that's all I got to say about this, man. Tell me what you guys think. If you like this content, if you support this channel, if you can, if you want to donate, you can do so on the links provided in the description box via the PayPal or the Cash App. But I really would like for you guys to come on to the Patreon for only $2 per month. On the Patreon, I'm able to talk about stuff that I can't talk about on YouTube for obvious reasons. I'm able to go in depth on certain issues, and I'm able to go on my classic Too Raw for TV rants on the Patreon, uncensored, totally unfiltered. So for only $2 per month, come on over and subscribe.